The introduction of Libya country. First of all, as we know that Libya known as Africa's fourth largest country, which is larger than the state of Alaska. Libya has established several national parks, natural reserves, and protected areas. The Libya economy is almost entirely based on the sale of oil and the gas petroleum, and the country is a major global, the largest producer of oil. The currency exchange rate of Libya, which is 4.78 Libyan dinars. The exchange rate has a significant impact on a country's of trade performance. Apart from that, the interest rate and inflation, one of the most important aspects of a country's that comparative level of economic performance, which is the currency exchange of Libya country. The changes in exchange rates have an impact on the decision of individuals, companies, and the government. The main of import and export from Libya country, which are Libya's major exports, are including with crude petroleum, gas petroleum, and refined petroleum, and they mainly export the product goods and services to Italy, Turkey, and Germany. Thus, the main import for Libya's country, which are including with automobiles, broadcasting equipment, and the wheat, as well as mainly import the product from other countries, such as from China, Turkey, Italy, and Greece.
Factor affecting exchange rate of Libya in Libyan dinar, which is gross domestic product. Economic growth, which is the economic progress of a nation, was measured using real gross domestic product (GDP), which takes into account of inflation. Bertwick 2008 posits that economic growth can negatively link with positive changes in an exchange rate when it is highly financed by imports, which are not contributing to the productive capacity of the economy. Thus, expectations are high that an improvement in the value of the dinar against the USD will cause major changes in GDP. The following table shows changes in Libya's economic performance since the period 2000 to 2019. Second is inflation. Inflation is not a new phenomenon on the Libyan economy, and it can be said that it has existed in the Libyan economy since the 70s, especially after the rise in oil prices globally, also through the period of 6 until the financial crisis witnessed by the war in 2016. The Central Bank of Libya has issued its annual economic index of 2016, showing a serious hike in inflation with 25.87% compared to other years. Part of this inflation is due to a combination of local factors that directly contribute to a real imbalance between the cash flow stream and the real supply stream of goods and service. The other parts of these inflationary pressures was attributed to inflation import from international markets due to the dependence of the Libyan economy on the outside world in meeting the supply deficit of goods and service through demand for imports of goods and service. Third is oil rent. Oil rents are the difference between the value of crude oil production at regional prices and total cost of production. For that, we provide data for Libya from 2000 to 2019. The minimum value for Libya during this period was 20.2% in 2016 and a maximum of 66.7% in 2006. The latest value from 2019 is 43.9%. Last is terms of trade. Rodriguez and Rodrigue 2001 posit that favorable changes in terms of trade between economies will result in an increase in demand for local products, which will translate to an increase in demand for its foreign currency. Terms of trade in these studies synonymously refers to the relative measure of export prices in relation to import prices. During the period 2000 to 2019, the huge increases being observed in the year 2010 and 2012, but there was a sharp decline in 2016 and slowly increased in the following year.
Next, I will continue with the descriptive statistic of Libya for the 20 years. Based on the descriptive statistic, it shows that the highest mean is terms of trade with 10,159,383,684 and 30 cents. Meanwhile, the lowest mean is inflation rate, which is 0.0515 rate. Next, we move to the median of Libyan dinar. Based on the data, we can see that the highest median is terms of trade with value 9,725,000,000, while the lowest is inflation rate with 0.02525. For For the standard deviation, the highest value is terms of trade, which is 9,019,135,080 cents. For the lowest value is inflation rate with 0.096530557.
Next is, I will represent the multiple linear regression. First, the value of R square is 0.335442774. It means that approximately 33.54% of the exchange rate of Libya is explained by the gross domestic product, inflation rate, oil rent, and term of trade. The value for adjusted R square is equal to 0.158227514. It shows that 15.82% of the variation exchange rate variability. The dependent variable is slightly explained by the independent variable. Next is ANOVA. The p-value for the F-test is equal to 0, which is less than the level of significance 0.05. Thus, the null hypothesis is rejected. This means that gross domestic product, inflation rate, oil rent, and term of trade are statistically significant variable in explaining the variable in the exchange rate of Libya. The entire model is significant, and we know that all the factors certain effect on dependent variable, which is exchange rate of Libya. Next is correlation. The value of the gross domestic product, inflation rate, oil rent, and term of trade are positive. So, it means that all the factors will increase the exchange rate of Libya.
In conclusion, the currency value is the most direct influence on economic growth through changes in demand for both exports and imports. An actual exchange rate of the domestic currency tends to make export more competitive abroad, while seeking to make imported products with less competitive due to increasing the market of demand for domestically manufactured goods and services. Estimates of currency fluctuations are required to assess the abroad currency return earning that associated with international transactions. Hence, predicting future exchange rates is crucial for evaluating the risks and benefits that associated with the global economy. That's all from us. Thank you.